President Donald Trump has called his wife's new movie beautiful, emotional, fashionable and cinematic. But there is just one problem. No one is going to see it.
The film is called Melania. It cost around $60 million to make. It follows the First Lady over 20 days before the 2025 inauguration. And it opened in Australia today amid cancelled screenings, empty cinemas and just a handful of tickets sold.
So far, reaction to the First Lady's first documentary isn't exactly what you'd put on a movie marquee.
Because this literally is something you can't make up. This is a Hollywood farce.
She may have rung the bell at the New York Stock Exchange to herald the movie's arrival in theaters Friday, but before it's even hit screens, the film's been getting review bombed on movie site Letterboxd. Did I watch this? No. Do I need to? Also no, writes one commentator. If they showed this on a plane, people would still walk out.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a high-profile project backed by big money and even bigger egos crashes and burns right out of the gate? Well, that's exactly what's happening with Melania Trump's new film, simply titled Melania. This so-called documentary promised an intimate look at the First Lady's life, but instead, it has turned into a box office ghost town. From canceled screenings to empty theaters, this multi-million-dollar flop reveals a lot about hype, spending, and unmet expectations. And as we go into the details, you will see just how this venture went so wrong. So the build-up to this movie started with grand promises. Melania herself led the production, describing it as a fresh scoop on her life that no one had heard before. She talked about blending humor, grief, and passion into a story that followed her over 20 days leading up to the 2025 inauguration. Donald Trump chimed in too, calling it beautiful, emotional, fashionable, and cinematic. He even suggested it brought back a touch of glamour that the country needed. But beneath those glowing words lay a hefty price tag. Reports peg the film's cost at around $60 million, with Amazon shelling out $40 million for the rights and another $35 million on marketing. That kind of cash could fund a blockbuster, yet here it was poured into what many now see as a vanity project. So what led to this particular mess? It all traces back to the Trump's return to the spotlight after the 2024 election. With Trump back in the White House, Melania aimed to carve out her own narrative. She positioned the film as more than a documentary, insisting it was a unique glimpse into her world. Trailers teased moments like her managing business, philanthropy, family, and White House preparations. There were also snippets of her chatting about her favorite time of day, early morning, and reflections on her fashion background building her thick skin. But the timing felt off from the start. For one, releasing the movie in early 2026 during the ongoing political tensions placed it where not everyone was eager for another Trump family spotlight. And as the film hit theaters in Australia first, the cracks showed immediately. Screenings opened to near empty seats. In Sydney and Melbourne, audiences barely reached single digits in 100-seat venues. That's not all. Some sessions even got delayed or canceled altogether. One report described a premiere where only 8 people showed up, a number that pales even compared to Trump's exaggerated inauguration crowd claims. Remember when he insisted 1.5 million people attended his first swearing in? Well, this film's turnout made that look like a packed stadium by comparison. And that is saying something about how disconnected the hype was from reality. Back in the US, the wide release aimed for 1,400 to 2,000 theaters, which is massive for a documentary. But the forecasts are more than terrible. CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton predicted opening weekend earnings between 1 million and 5 million, which is a far cry from top documentaries like Fahrenheit 9/11, which pulled in $41 million adjusted for inflation. And for all the promotion, which includes Melania's press tour on friendly outlets, the buzz failed to translate into ticket sales. Sessions hovered at about 4% capacity, leaving rows of empty chairs. I mean, it is really comical how a project meant to showcase Melania as a peacemaker under fire ended up fighting for any attention at all. Critics have not been kind either. Early reviews questioned the film's substance, calling it a missed opportunity. One take summed it up by noting that while it promised big answers to big questions, it delivered fluff like Melania's daily preferences. Rotten Tomatoes odds also put the chance of a score below 20% at 73%, signaling a rotten reception. Sure, Trump and his inner circle raved about it, but that hardly counts as unbiased praise. And let's not forget the crew drama. Rolling Stone reported that 2/3 of the New York team asked not to be credited. And in Hollywood, where people fight for screen time in the credits, that speaks volumes about the project's reputation. Now, aside from all these, the film's content itself invites mockery. Melania claims it shows her thick skin from the fashion world, preparing her for the First Lady role. But watching the trailers, you get awkward exchanges and surface level insights. There is her imitating accents or dodging questions, but nothing there that grips you or makes you want to see the whole thing. One interviewer even asked about her favorite part, and her response was about Trump's YMCA dance moves. This just makes the whole project feel like a polished infomercial rather than a compelling story. And with director Brett Ratner attached, known for hits like Rush Hour, but also controversies, the whole package screams mismatched ambitions. Trump's involvement also adds another side of ridicule. He hyped it as a masterpiece and was posting about it everywhere, yet the flop perfectly follows his pattern of over-promising and under-delivering. And while Trump boasts about high quality and smarts, the empty theaters tell a different tale. Perhaps it is karma for all those rally crowds he inflated that is now biting back in the form of real attendance numbers. Now let's talk about the financial angle, because that also boggles the mind. Amazon's investment dwarfs other documentaries. March of the Penguins, which charmed audiences with Antarctic adventures, cost only a fraction and earned praise. But here we are talking about $75 million for 20 days of Melania's life. You just have to wonder if there is some other motive, which makes some speculate it smells like a favor to curry influence with the administration. Because Jeff Bezos overpaying for this just doesn't make any sense. But then again, in a world where Trump loves deals that benefit him, it is hard not to connect the dots. However, defenders, which is mostly from right-leaning media, are crying foul, which is expected anyways. They argue it is the left tearing it down, as they are ignoring Melania's achievements like protecting children online or her immigrant success story. One commentator even lamented her lack of Vogue covers, claiming she would be celebrated if her politics differed. But that really misses the point. The film is not flopping because of bias. It is flopping because it fails to engage. No one forced empty theaters. Audiences simply chose otherwise. And bringing up her philanthropy feels hollow when the movie itself skimps on depth. Anyways, looking ahead, will Melania recover through streaming? Well, while Amazon's push might help, early signs point to no, because theaters pulling screenings signal a quick exit. And for Trump, it is another dent in the brand, proving that even family projects can backfire. Melania's thick skin, as she calls it, might help her weather it, but the public embarrassment will definitely be there. But what do you think caused this movie to flop so hard? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you laughed, learned, or just shook your head in disbelief, smash that like button and subscribe for more honest breakdowns. Also, turn on notifications so you don't miss new uploads. Until next time, stay curious.